See you in hell, evil magistrate! Whoa, wow, the Steel Samurai is apparently supposed to be a children's program, yet the censors let this slide? Yeah, I totally love to hear my kids tell each other they'd see them in hell. I know American media has let crazier things slide in children's entertainment, but still. Oh, Nick, I didn't know you were here. Of course I'm here. How could Maya not figure out, oh, Nick works here, he must be here? When they asked grade school kids what they wanted to be, Steel Samurai was #1. I really worry about kids these days. What, and see you in hell isn't your #1 concern at this moment? Mia's murder was the talk of the town for some time, but no one paid any attention to the Wright & Co. law offices. How funny, considering that it's now being run by the guy who cleared his own name for the murder of his former boss. Nick! Maya? What? It's still early. It's only like 8:14 in the morning, dude, or maybe you're just a heavy sleeper.
The actor Will Powers was arrested yesterday. Powers plays the lead role in the popular kids show The Steel Samurai Warrior of Neo Old Tokyo. He was arrested on suspicion of murder. The victim was Jack Hammer, who plays the villain known as the Evil Magistrate. His body was found still inside the Evil Magistrate costume. The samurai spear was also found stuck to the body. Police believe this was the murder weapon and are investigating further.
Wait, hang on. Let me see if I got this right. The samurai spear that's used as a prop for the show is an actual spear? It's actually pointy and can actually be used to stab people with? Dang, the people behind the show must be some real troopers. No, it's a nightmare! The Steel Samurai is over! The world is over! Hyperactive fangirl cliche. The Steel Samurai is the lead character in a popular kids show. He walks the streets of Neo Old Tokyo, fighting battle after battle against the evil magistrate and his minion. Of course, he never actually defeats the evil magistrate, although I guess he did defeat him this time. Ugh. I see.
Neo Old Tokyo? Who comes up with these names?
Probably some American executives working on this localization that try to sound cool. That has to be the most bloodless impalation I've ever seen. I know that's just supposed to be the costume the victim was wearing. It's not actually a muscular bod, but the way it's presented in a black and white image just looks weird.
Hey, you there! You want in, you gotta go through me!
Whoa there, game. The Oldbag hasn't even introduced herself yet, and already we know her name. Except her profile in the court record just calls her security lady. Also Oldbag.
News today. Something horrible happens and all you can think of is sightseeing. Wasting your time in a place like this? Don't you have jobs you should be doing? Or do lawyers not work like the rest of us? Maybe I should become a lawyer too. Sounds like a life of ease to me. No work, just loafing around all day as you please. Well, when I was young, things were a mite different, mind you. We didn't prance around in strange hippie clothes. What are the use coming to these days? My own son hasn't called in.
Great, we got a chatterbox, and it just so happens to be an old woman that misses the salad days when you needed to stand up from your couch anytime you wanted to change the TV channel. Or if she's older than TV, her profile doesn't specify her age, how about back when you needed to turn a dial on a phone in order to call someone? But anyway, I'm sure this old woman will be the only chatterbox this whole series.
This place has really gone downhill, you know. But 10 years ago, now that was a studio of dreams. Hammer was a big star back then, too, he was.
Hammer?
The victim, dummy. The evil magistrate. He's been reduced to playing villains now. Not exactly the best material to work with.
What? Playing the villain in a movie or TV show could be super cool. I mean, come on, Disney gave us some of the best villains in animated kids films, ranging from Gaston to the Wicked Queen to Jafar to Ursula to Yzma to Maleficent to Scar to Captain Hook. Actually, we're here at Mr. Powers' request.
I thought you were suspicious looking. Show me a letter of request and maybe I'll just let you in.
This is one of the dumbest parts of the episode. The amount of time spent on the investigation portions because you gotta backtrack just to get something the game doesn't have the common decency to just give you sooner when it would have been more convenient.
To think he would entrust his fate to use of such unreliable appearance.
To who exactly? A well-dressed man with an attorney's badge in his lapel and a teenage girl in acolyte's clothing?
Anyway, you may pass, but only left from here toward the studios. No going to the right. That's the employee area. No one allowed inside, pal, were my instructions.
And yet when I go to the employee area later, I have no issue. No explanation for why there's no issue.
What exactly are you two doing here?
Well,
we're on this case too, pal.
Huh? Hey, you can't just go around saying pal like that. That's my endearing character trait.
I'd say he's a character, all right.
Breaking the fourth wall. So, how's your investigation going, detective?
Well, hey, I can't tell you that, pal.
Nick, maybe you need to be a little more indirect with your questions. Right. So, detective, mind if I take a look at what you got?
What I got?
The autopsy report. The latest version, if you please. First of all, that seemed a lot more direct than how is the investigation going. Second, in the previous case, Gumshoe did give you the latest version of the autopsy report at the time. It's just that you didn't get an update until the day of the trial, thanks to Edgeworth. Lastly, yeah, let's get an autopsy report from the detective, which we are never gonna use. There's a number plate on the camera. ST1-307. What am I gonna need that, am I right? Looks like you need a card key to get in. It makes sense that they would want to keep the non-employees out. Except 1, a murder is being investigated in that area, and 2, it's forcing me to do some more backtracking. Nick, I'm hungry. You just had a burger. Yeah, but I have a separate stomach for sweets.
How many stomachs does this girl have?
This response only really makes sense if you examine the T-bone steaks in the employee area before examining the sweets in the dressing room. Look, a ladder. That's a step ladder. So, what's the difference? You need to stop judging things based on narrow-minded cultural assumptions, Nick. Right. Sorry.
This girl's out there.
Kinda lame how the debate wasn't just completely solved right there, don't you think? Maybe then we won't need to talk about it so much. Who are you? Who, me? I'm an assistant here. Wait, this girl never said her name, and yet we're calling her Penny? Or what the heck, Penny Nichols? Her full name and age are listed in the court record after she introduces herself not by name, but by job. Actually, there's been something bothering me. Aha! That's what I'm talking about! A clue! A lead! Well, I don't know about that, but that day, just after noon, I sensed someone was here. You sensed? Well, obviously, she was talking about that kid being in the studios that day, but what does she mean she sensed someone was here? She doesn't have any spiritual powers I know of, like Maya.
Oh, you youngins are like that nowadays. Run your mouths like there was no tomorrow, say this, that, and the other thing. Well, when I was young, let me tell you, we knew a thing or two about respecting your elders. Back then we did, and it's a crime shame that you used to take to say what you please about poor old ladies.
She left. Well, Nick, this is our chance to do what we can without her looking over our shoulders. Checking the security data? But why are we doing that? Wouldn't that photo be shown in court anyway? Good thing we examined that security camera at the gate. Hang on, why is this in black and white? People don't take black and white photos anymore. Get with the times, Capcom. Hey, Nick, can't we use this photo as evidence for the trial? Yeah, we'll put that security lady in her place with this. Right, we'll put her in her place. Hey, that's what I said. Anyway, let's show her this photo and see what she says. Didn't you just say we could use this for the trial? Wait, we started the investigation on October 16th. Every other episode had the trial the day following the investigation. Why is this one so special that it had to be 2 days after the investigation? Now, on the day of the murder, October 15th, there were only 3 people there. The victim, Jack Hammer, the defendant, Will Powers, and a young woman, the production assistant. All the production staff were in the employee area until noon. Of the 3 people mentioned, the young woman is so unimportant that we're not going to call her by name like the other 2. Also, you just said there were only 3 people there, and very soon after that, you say all the production staff is there. I mean, of course, the director was there to oversee it. Why that wasn't questioned until Oldbag talked about it later is beyond me, but that's besides the point. The point is, Detective Gumshoe contradicted himself. Also, it isn't mentioned that Oldbag was overseeing the run-through in the employee area until she testifies about it. Was it seriously that unimportant at the time? Will the witness declare her name? My, aren't you a handsome fellow? I'm afraid I'm a bit flustered. Why is such an old bag as yourself being smitten with 24-year-old Edgeworth? Are you crazy? On the day of the murder, I arrived at the guard station at 1 o'clock p.m. Poor old Hammer and the rest have been doing a run-through there since the morning. At the guard station or the employee area? Details, Oldbag, details! Wait, why do I have to be the one to present the photo? It was Oldbag who gave it to the detective, right? Shouldn't the photo have already been submitted to the court before I even began my cross-examination? The prosecution would like to ask the witness. Please make known all the information in your possession ahead of time.
How was I to know everyone would be so nosy? You should be ashamed, all of you!
You are testifying as a witness in a court. What did you expect?
Anyway, I showed that photo to the young detective. He told me, this isn't any good as evidence, pal. He didn't even give it a second look!
Why would he? You're only revealing just now about how Powers broke his leg during rehearsal in your next testimony. Why would we be paying attention to anything about him dragging his leg in that photo? He broke a prop?
Sure did. His own samurai spear.
His samurai spear. The murder weapon?
Luckily, I was there with my duct tape to fix it.
How interesting that the duct tape doesn't come up until now, since it's right there on the spear. Also, why not also mention that because duct tape was used on the spear, there's a possibility that the spear was not the murder weapon. Oh, but then we'd have to work out what the murder weapon really was, and we haven't gotten that far in the case yet. This photo was taken by the camera at the gate for the studios, correct?
Yes, sirree, sonny.
So whenever anyone passes by here, it automatically takes a picture.
And here I thought you didn't know your head from a hole in the ground.
Right. Anyway, it's also true that the computer in the guard station records all security cam data. Get to the point, Phoenix! Yikes! Well, who in the heck was in that photo you erased?
A fanboy.
Fanboy? Steel Samurai fanboys. Real freaks, if you ask me. They get information about the rehearsals from gosh knows where. They're always hanging about. One was there that day. Yeah, where do they get the information? The internet? Why would any studio post information about rehearsals on the internet? I haven't seen anything about that in real life. Also, how close do these kids live to the studios to just go there with no problems whatsoever? A boy in 2nd or 3rd grade? I would assume it would be hard, if not impossible, for a young boy to wield the samurai spear. Impossible, I think. It's quite heavy.
Right. As I said, I didn't pay him much mind. That's why I erased the data.
Nick, what's going on? I mean, the boy was there. That makes him a suspect.
Yeah, and they're already trying to unsuspect him.
You know, you don't have to say that like you're gonna direct suspicion to the kid just to save Powers. Maybe unscramble your brains and you'll come to the realization that there's no reason to suspect the kid, since the spear is so heavy, and with the scene of the crime currently believed to be Studio 1, which requires a card key to enter, you guys are just being jerks. The other person who went to the studios was a boy of roughly 10 years of age. In 2nd or 3rd grade? Unless this boy's been held back by a year or two, there's no way a 10-year-old kid should be in 2nd or 3rd grade. Also, he's not 10, he's 7. Well, why would she go through the trouble of wearing the Steel Samurai costume? Simple, Your Honor. She knew the camera at the gate would take her picture. If she was in his costume, she could point the finger at Mr. Powers. I see. Excellent deductive reasoning, Mr. Wright. No, that was just child's play that doesn't require much thought.
But why would I do something so horrible to poor Hammer?
You forget that Mr. Powers lacks a clear motive too. Yeah, and so did Maya and Phoenix when they were put on trial for Mia's murder. Just how lax is this legal system anyway?
What about the other person who went to the studio? The boy! The one whose photo I erased!
He's only a grade schooler though, as you said. 2nd or 3rd grade, was it?
That doesn't matter. When I was that age, I could pin my old man in 10 seconds tops.
Your thoughts, Mr. Wright? Must I spell everything out? We should have known something was fishy. How could they have done a run-through of their action scene without a director? Of course!
Yes, well, I was surprised no one asked about it.
Yeah, me too. Why did no one ask about it?
The director was in the employee area all morning for the run-through. He joined the producer around lunchtime and they had a meeting after that.
Where?
Oh, in the Studio 2 trailer.
Studio 2?
There was a Studio 2?
Why wouldn't there be? If there was a Studio 1, obviously there'd have to be a Studio 2. Let me see. The trial started at 10. We had a 5-minute recess in between that started at 11:08. That would mean after the recess, we were in the courtroom for an hour 51 minutes. Considering what we heard in the courtroom, that makes 0 sense.
So, Nick, remember that Studio 2 we heard about at the trial today? It was down that path to the fallen tree, right?
Yeah? I'm not stupid, you know.
Looks like 2 people ate here. There's nothing left on the plates.
Hey, so they ate T-bone steaks too. How would Maya deduce that just by looking at the plates on the table in Studio 2? At least in the employee area, there were plates that had a bone on them. Also, this may not seem like a significant detail, but it actually is. That by itself wouldn't be so bad, except you're going to have to remember this detail. I'll explain the BS part of it later, but for right now, I'll say it's pretty BS. I hate having to repeat myself, but Nick here is a newbie lawyer, fresh off the bar. When he loses, he's going to lose big. I see.
Whose side is she on?
My real question is, what does she mean when I lose? Doesn't she mean if?
Oh, well, I'm sure these things happen. Nothing to worry yourself about. You're right. I won't.
Personally, I think she should worry at least a little bit more. Yeah, maybe Global Studios should start looking for more assistants.
Hey, Nick. If that drain's covered, the boy won't be able to get in.
Yeah, I think that was the idea.
I feel kind of sorry for him, though. Don't you?
What, you want to rip the grate off?
Really, Nick? We can? Whoa, she's serious?
Uh-oh. The game's really giving me the option. If I tell her no, she won't rip off the grate. If I tell her yes, she will. I have to tell her yes in order to progress the story. But why should she even need my approval? Just have her rip off the grate by her own volition without needing Phoenix to actually approve. That sounds more in line with Maya.
This place is deserted.
Nick, what was that noise? It sounded like it came from inside the trailer. This fetch quest is just for a key to the trailer kept in the guard station, which we can't access quite yet. Yeesh, this episode just loves taking us in circles, doesn't it? WTF? Who are Chutos? LMAO? Ah, the lead talk. Also, WTF and LMAO. Whatever, lamers. How could you not know the great Salmonella? I make Talit shows. The Steel Samurai? Mine! RTFC? Read the film credits. How do you do, fellow kids? You know, on closer inspection. Yeah. Okay, what the heck is this game? I knew this would be a kid's game, but holy crap. You've triggered my creative powers. Yes, it's coming to me! The Pink Princess! The sequel to the Steel Samurai, Pink Princess, Warrior of Little Old Tokyo! Seriously? You got that idea from Maya's acolyte clothing? Also, I know that's just how Lead Talk works, but the way 3-4 is positioned after the R in creative makes me think of something that probably exists with Maya and Manila.
Know this, whippersnapper. This old lady never forgets a slight or insult, and you won't get any information out of me. My lips are sealed.
You sure are talking a lot for someone who's sealed lips. She sure talks a lot just in general. This is kind of nothing new. What a rude little brat. That's no way to talk to an adult.
I don't see no adults here. Hippie fashion Jake.
What about the man with the spiky hair dressed in a blue suit? So you're a fan of the Steel Samurai?
How dare you wear that name, evildoer!
What do you mean? We're on the Steel Samurai side.
You can't fool me!
Okay, then what's the last line said by the innkeeper in episode 8?
Ha! Easy! Like some fries today?
Really? That was Maya's plan to try to win the kid over? Also, with that line, I wonder what the Steel Samurai as a show was like. We need a real-life Steel Samurai TV show stat!
Where's that old windbag?
Odd of her to leave her post.
Hey!
Nick, that was her!
Stop, whippersnapper!
Yeah, it sounds like she's chasing after that boy.
Natch!
Uh-oh, she tripped.
Maya sure looks happy. Maya takes pleasure in pain to the elderly. I wonder if the key we borrowed from the guard station will work. It opened.
Great! Let's go, Nick!
She seems eager all of a sudden. Well, yeah, the whole reason we wanted to go into the trailer was because we heard a loud noise. We just wanted to check if everything was alright.
Eek! Someone's in here!
Yeah, and okay, she's kind of dressed in dark clothing, but not sure it warrants an eek, Maya. Also, this is what we entered the trailer to see? That nothing happened? Dee Vasquez, the producer.
Dee Vasquez. She's quite beautiful.
Is she, though? Dressed up in dark clothing, smoking a pipe? Phoenix, we really need to talk about beauty. Also, here's something interesting to note. Dee Vasquez was originally supposed to be a male, but they changed the gender after realizing that every other culprit in the game has been male. Remember earlier when I talked about the dialogue blips in Turnabout Sisters? This is another instance where the blips you hear from the character is the opposite of the gender.
If you see Manila, give him this. Why do we have to do your errands?
Another unnecessary side task just to get the story moving? Huh? Bring me the script for episode 13? Episode 13? Where did I put that one? I must have left it somewhere. Uh-oh, my butt is pulled if I don't find it.
Nick, it might be quicker to just look in all the places he's likely to have been.
Or just ask him to retrace his steps and save us the trouble. It's not rocket science. We found your script. What? Thanks! Still, I don't know. The woman is to be feared when you bring something to her late. Say, do you think Jutus could take it down there for me? Thanks! This side task is still freaking going?
Its head fell over in the wind on the day of the murder. They didn't start moving the head out of the way until after 3. It was after 4 by the time the path was unblocked. Capiche? Everyone in this trailer was stuck here until the path was cleared. Stuck in this trailer. Stuck until after 4.
Not necessarily stuck in the trailer. You can still roam around the Studio 2 area, just not past it, that's all. It sure doesn't look good. Guess we should head back to the office and plan our strategy. Do we have to? It's just more time being spent just to get to story elements that could have taken place sooner.
Phoenix, do you have anything you might trade with her?
A trade, I wonder. Great, just a little something I need to do in order to move the story forward. But who would guess that it'd have to be the card key to Studio 1? Not just that, wasn't this Powers' card key? Does this mean Oldbag would have to give it back to Powers after he gets acquitted?
Why don't you let her borrow it, Phoenix?
I guess it can't hurt. Here you go, Miss Oldbag. I mean, it's not like we have to go back to Studio 1. Seriously, we don't. For the rest of the case.
Phoenix, was that the boy?
Yeah, his name's Cody Hackins.
I think he ran into the dressing room.
You think? You saw him, didn't you? I'll give you this if you help me.
But that's me, kid! By offering me something I already own, you're in effect eschewing the very basis of our consumer society, namely the principle of fair trade! Man, for a grown-up, you sure are dim.
What do they teach these kids in school these days? Quantum physics?
Actually, I wouldn't put it past those teachers in the Ace Attorney universe, especially considering that Cody already has the idea of fair trade down despite only being 7 years old.
If you want to trade, find me a really rare kid.
What? After all that trouble to get this kid's trading cards, I have to go on yet another fetch quest? Seriously, the second day investigating is the worst part of the episode because of all the freaking fetch quests I gotta go through just to get the story moving.
Have you seen that boy since then?
Nope, you missed it though. The security lady was chasing around after the boy so fast I thought she'd collapse. Well, she kinda did. Are all the posters on the wall here of Hammer?
Yes, it's really a terrible loss for the studios.
But his popularity had been waning recently, right?
That's true. But then again, after what happened...
After what happened?
You mean you don't know about Hammer?
Why the heck would I? This accident 5 years ago to which Penny refers was kept out of the public news, was it not? In that case, how does Penny know about it?
Wait. That's it. That's the card I need. You don't know how long I've been looking for it.
Great, as if we need another hyperactive fangirl.
Look, I'll even trade you an ultra rare premium card.
Trade me
Huh? Yes, it's a good deal for your ultra rare. Please!
Phoenix, can't you see she's desperate?
Yes, I can see that. Besides, I need that ultra rare premium anyway. Also, ultra rare in exchange for ultra rare premium. Why do I feel like there ought to be more to it than that? Unless Penny has a double of that ultra rare premium she's giving away as well?
Doesn't doing good things like that make you feel great?
It does, but not because I'm doing a good thing. It's because I want the story to go forward already. I gotta talk to that freaking kid!
Hey, if you want this, you can have it, lady.
Really? Are you sure?
Yeah, I took this with the digital camera. I got all the data at home, so I can always make another one.
Well, then I'm happy to accept. Thank you.
What's with people always giving stuff to Mia? What a life!
This is all making Mia come off as spoiled. Phoenix defends Larry and presents the final piece of evidence necessary to save him, but Larry gives his reward to Mia despite her only being an aide in that trial. Though I guess with Cody here, it makes more sense for him to give the album to Mia because of how he feels about Phoenix. I think Phoenix needs some healing hugs.
I heard everything. This boy is a key witness, and he's under police protection starting now.
I had to do research for this because I found it hard to believe a child is about to be called to the witness stand. Turns out it is legal, but a lot of it comes down to a sort of maturity level. Even though this kid displays an insane amount of intelligence for his age, he also seems a bit too immature to be a competent witness in that case. Will the witness state his name and profession? How rude can you get? You don't know me? I'm the director. I make the Steel Samurai, noob. ROFL! Wow, if this is how he addresses the court, imagine how he must have been in the meeting that took place on the day of the murder. Phoenix. Yeah? Doesn't something about that seem odd to you? This is where the bare plates in the Studio 2 area come into play. For this part, it's not too bad because all you have to do is say that Manila's statement about skipping out on lunch is contradictory. That's it. You don't even have to present evidence. But don't worry, it gets worse later. When I went to Studio 2, I saw something on the table there. There were 2 plates, the same kind of plates as the one in the employee area. Who ate lunch there? No, good call. I was embarrassed, so I didn't mention it. Too embarrassed to mention that you ate steaks? We took one break during that meeting. I wolfed it down then.
A mental image I will carry with me to my grave. Wait a second. If they took a break in that meeting, that contradicts his testimony. I'll press on that one a bit more.
In any other Ace Attorney game, getting information like this would have meant either advancing to a new testimony or the last statement in Manella's first testimony being changed to reflect the new information we gathered. But now, in this one instance, you have to press the statement that your new info contradicts. Just a bit of extra work in case you thought you weren't getting enough from the side task, the investigation portion that came before trial day 2. Just have Manella instantly forget that he told you about the break just for the sake of extra gameplay. Yeah, FWIW, we took a break, ROFL. But it was only 15 minutes. 15! That's only 13 in base 12. Pfft, smart Alec. Phoenix, this is critical. Think about it before you give your answer. Do you claim someone from the trailer went to Studio 1? This is one of the few instances where you have to say that a certain scenario is impossible. If you say you're going to claim it, Edgeworth will have everything explained for you and you'll get a penalty. But then here's the kicker. If you say it's impossible, Edgeworth will explain it anyway. So really, having to stop me just to have me set myself back on track is kind of pointless if I'm not even going to be presenting the head of Mr. Monkey. Yeah, you don't even get to present this monkey head. It's just there's a waste of space. This is everyone returning to the courtroom after a 10-minute recess. When the recess started, it was 11:04, and now it's 11:15, meaning 11 minutes have passed. That's cheating. The prosecution has a concern. As our witness is a grade schooler of tender years, and this is a murder case, we worry that the defense might cause unnecessary trauma with his cruel questioning. I'd personally be more worried about getting the kid to cooperate. Incidentally, photographic equipment is strictly forbidden in this courtroom. My apologies, Your Honor. He said he wouldn't testify if he couldn't bring it. I'd like special permission if that's possible. Wait, so you're saying you had to bargain terms with a kid? And you lost? We are talking about the same Edgeworth that never lost a case in his entire career up until Turnabout Sisters, right? Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. But be gentle. Remember you're talking to a child.
This kid is tougher than most adults we see in here, honestly.
Yeah, as I'm sure the judge has seen himself, the kid sure can put up a fight. You know as well as I do that he's being fake! Tell me, what kind of murderer uses a samurai slap? Maybe if you watched the Steel Samurai, you'd have an answer. Or wait, maybe Cody just made up the samurai slap while desperate to keep his secret. And don't say anything like him just forgetting a samurai slap doesn't exist. This kid established to be a huge Steel Samurai fanboy. Apparently, we have all made a serious error. An error? What's this all about? One of the options is basically saying a murder never took place. And then another option is stating what we already know. Both the hammer and Steel Samurai options lead us to the same matter of discussion, but I just think it's funny that we even have the hammer option in the first place. But remember what Miss Oldbag said in her testimony? On the day of the murder, I arrived at the guard station at 1 o'clock p.m. Did I see poor old Hammer? Nope. He'd already gone to the studio before I got back to the guard station. It's funny how this flashback even takes place because the only way Oldbag would ever have said this is if you press the third statement in her first testimony, which you're not required to do. Might I draw your attention to the number on that gate? The number? Yes, well, it's hard to see, but it looks like a 2. It's not that hard to see, Judge. Come on. The body was found here, in Studio 1. However, what do we see in this photo taken at the time of the murder? It does not say 1 on the gate of the photo. Your Honor, here is the true scene of the crime.
Show the judge where the murder took place.
Or maybe if the judge was smart, he'd figure it out himself. After the recess, we were in the courtroom for 3 hours and 32 minutes? Bullcrap. Under the initial trial system, tomorrow is the last day we have. Initial trial? What's that? That's a new court system they introduced 2 or 3 years ago. They had so many cases in the system, they decided to speed the whole process up. So, under that system, trials have to end in 3 days? Yeah, pretty much. Funny story, and I mentioned this already, this is the only game in the main series to have any trials go on for up to 3 days. Every game after that has 2 trial days maximum. So what, did they make a new system for that too? Ever since she came on board, we've had nothing but hits. Global Studios was on its knees, but she picked it up and made it shine. Up until the studios are not doing so well now. What happened? Do we even get an answer for that?
Sal? He's soft. A pushover. Does whatever Vasquez tells him to. She treats him like dirt, but I think he likes it.
Huh? Why would anyone like being treated like dirt? That doesn't make any sense, does it, Nick? For normal people, no, it wouldn't make sense. But considering what Manella's like, yeah, masochist.
Well, the testing solution on the plate changed color, alright.
So the food on this plate had been laced with sleeping pills. Okay, so Gumshoe was given testing solution that changes color when it comes into contact with sleeping pills, but to compare the plate now to the first time you examine it, there's literally no difference whatsoever. It's like Gumshoe added nothing to the plate. This week is the last episode of The Steel Samurai. What? No! No. Why aren't they going to make kid shows anymore? The studio bigwigs don't want the Steel Samurai around anymore. They want to forget all this ever happened. They want it quiet, you understand? How is stopping production of kid shows supposed to keep everything quiet? I wanted to ask you about 5 years ago. Ah! Who told? Who did you hear that from? Huh? Nichols! Nichols? Nichols, Nick. Penny Nichols, that assistant we talked to. You know, the girl whose name has never been brought up in character dialogue until now?
Here, take this.
Huh? A photograph? This photo's in black and white too! Hang on, are all photos in the Ace Attorney universe just in black and white? Have we seriously not moved on to color yet? Except we have moved on to color, yet people still take black and white photos? For what reason? Hey Nick, it's Miss Vasquez. Hello? H-E-L-L-O! H-E-L-L-O! Ah yes, the best way to get someone's attention when they don't respond. Just loudly spell out the word hello. Dang it, Phoenix, haven't you learned anything from the red-white incident? You're inciting trouble by doing this. At least with red-white, what you did actually convinced him to take the stand, but here, you had pretty much no reason to do this. I'm pretty sure Gumshoe would have shown up and had Vasquez come to court as a witness anyway. You mean Mr. Hammer did it? On purpose? That is what I mean. Well, where's your proof? Can you prove it? Just think. Would he have let me run his life for 5 years over a mere accident? Yeah, because he'd feel such immense guilt over what happened, whether it was an accident or not. Tell me why. Why do you want this photograph so badly? This is Mr. Hammer's dirt, no? Why should Dee Vasquez care about it at all? If it's dirt she had on the victim, if it's something she's been keeping secret, even after he died, with the information you gathered, I'm sure you'd understand why. Boys, erase away. No! No. Hold it right there! Gumshoe Ex Machina. I entered the trailer a little before noon. The meeting began at 12 sharp. It ended at 4. There was to be a rehearsal afterwards, so we went to Studio 1. I was fatigued, so I had Sal take me. At 2:30, we took a 15-minute break in the meeting. Whoa, hold up there. Vasquez is talking about how they had a 4-hour meeting in the Studio 2 trailer, in the middle of which was a 15-minute break, and after the meeting, they made their way to Studio 1. Shouldn't she be talking about the break after speaking of the time frame of the meeting and before she started talking about going to Studio 1? Also, when I go to cross-examine Vasquez, the testimony stops when she talks about her and Sal eating T-bone steaks during the break. But when she was testifying, she had more to say, like discovering Jack Hammer's body in Studio 1. What reason did they have to leave that out of the cross-examination? Oh yeah, and here's the part that's bullcrap about the plates in the employee area in the Studio 2 area. Unless you were actively paying attention and remembering that the plates in the Studio 2 area were completely bare, how would you know to present the steak plate at that last statement? You think, oh, during the testimony you see Studio 2, all you have to do is look at the plates there. Well, there's a problem. If you had the text box background option set to have no transparency, you wouldn't be able to see the plates on the table. This isn't exactly a huge problem, but it's still bullcrap. The samurai spear was not the murder weapon. What? What is the meaning of this? The spear was found lying next to the victim's body. I have proof, Your Honor. I can prove that the samurai spear was not used as the murder weapon. You know, the proof that I could have presented earlier because of something we learned on the first day of the case? Seriously, I couldn't bring this up earlier? I lose, you win. It was fun. Then we proceed to take like over half a minute on nothing before we move on to the next point of discussion for no good reason. It wouldn't be such a big deal, except we have this moment of silence before we fade to black, then back to the witness stand, not once, but twice. Why do we need it twice? I would like to end the cross-examination of the witness, Ms. Vasquez. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth. I was hoping to come up with a question while I was objecting, Your Honor. I didn't. This is hilarious, but it only really makes more sense if, once given the prop, you say you have no further questions, as opposed to asking Vasquez to testify again. Does this make any sense to you, Your Honor? I don't see that we have anything to gain by repeating the last several minutes. Okay, as if that wasn't confusing enough, this dialogue would make a lot more sense if you chose to ask Vasquez to testify again. Simply put, whichever option you choose when given the prompt, assuming you don't continue to accuse Vasquez without the decisive evidence you need, which just starts up the prompt again, there's one thing about this scene while Edgeworth is objecting that suffers a bit. I thought you came to Studio 1 for a rehearsal. Why didn't you bring your script and notes?
Well, I was under the impression that we wouldn't be able to rehearse anything.
Why?
There was a murder after all. Who could think of rehearsing after that?
Oh yeah, I guess.
Why are you agreeing with her? Just so Edgeworth can have something to object to in order to continue his new character development when he asked Vasquez for more testimony? Also, we're talking about someone who is by no means stupid here. Why on earth did she think she could get away with saying the reason they wouldn't be able to rehearse was because there was a murder? One of the lead actors is the victim, and the production staff were all in Studio 2 before they found the body. Yes, I know I'm pointing all this out before Edgeworth does, but my point is, I have a hard time believing Vasquez would lie this poorly.
I think you misunderstood me. I had a perfectly good reason to believe there would be no rehearsal.
Very well. The witness will change her testimony to reflect this reason.
I knew that Hammer was injured and couldn't do any action scenes, so I left them behind.
No, we didn't misunderstand you at all. You first said the reason you didn't think there would be a rehearsal is because Hammer was dead. Now you just changed that reason to being that Hammer was injured, which isn't true either, but with this statement, that's besides the point because you didn't know about the accident in the employee area where Powers was the one that hurt his ankle. The point is, why would Hammer's supposed injury not be what she says the first time? Is it so that Edgeworth can have something to point out? What about the fact that Vasquez didn't bring the script and production notes with her when they went to Studio 1? He had the perfect opportunity when Phoenix pressed her on that statement. Now, why did you think it was Mr. Hammer who was injured? I already said it was Sal who told me. No, you freaking didn't. In fact, actually, the only way this line would make sense is if you pressed that statement before presenting the photo of Powers, which you didn't have to do. That's the thing about the first 3 games, is that depending on how you play, whether it be more straightforward or perusing through every piece of dialogue possible, you're likely to run into a plot hole or two because of something you missed, despite it not being necessary to advance the story. Also, I already caught you out that Mr. Powers was the one who was injured. With Sal being in the employee area, he knew about the injury. Why would you say that he told you Hammer was injured even though that's clearly not the case?
I have a question for you.
Why are the real killers always so persistent?
My question exactly. Yes, you would need a motive. Why would she have killed the victim? If there is a reason, it is unclear to this court. That didn't stop you guys from arresting Powers, did it? Wow, that's like the most casual breakdown I've ever seen. Mr. Hammer was a big star once, but he was reduced to acting in a kid's show and as a villain to boot. The kids loved the Steel Samurai, and so he hated you. I think I understand. He could have just told me. I would have changed places with him any time. Haven't you been listening to what Phoenix was saying about Vasquez blackmailing Hammer? Even if he wanted to play the Steel Samurai, he couldn't. Thanks to you, I'll be able to don the Steel Samurai outfit once more. Yeah, but who will be the evil magistrate now? You still gotta get that figured out. Pleased to meet you. I'm Powers. Edgeworth. I'm a big fan of your work, Mr. Powers.
Liar.
No, Phoenix. He's right. He's secretly a fan, although not so much of a secret now, is it? Thanks to you, I am saddled with unnecessary feelings. Unnecessary feelings? Yes, unease and uncertainty. This, my friends, is the beginning of the Wright worshipping, one of the most famous fan ships in the Ace Attorney community. Want me to blow your mind holes? Too bad. I don't buy it. Mr. Wright, was that guy your friend?
What? Friends? As if. They're rivals. Rivals. Right, Nick?
For now we are, I guess.
Huh? Why do I get the feeling I'm missing something? Come on, Nick, tell me. What's the deal with you and Edgeworth?
You know, I never thought about this until now, but why does Phoenix not talk about how Edgeworth was once his friend until 2 months after this trial's conclusion? He doesn't seem to have a reason not to, right?
This is it. The new show starts today. You're gonna watch it with me, right?
Wait, the Pink Princess has already been put on the air? Salmonella only came up with the idea 2 days before the case was settled. There's no way between Turnabout Samurai and Turnabout Goodbyes that the Pink Princess would already have its first episode put on the air. You gotta do the casting, the shooting, the editing.
Isn't it great that WP gets to play the lead again?
Why exactly is Powers playing the Pink Princess? Could they seriously not find a female to play the role?